Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Stu. As Stu mentioned, I'm Cody Edwards, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Dean of the College of Science at George Mason University. It's great to see everyone, great to be here. It's funny, when I came through the line this morning, I had a briefcase, and I forgot that I had a Leatherman in my briefcase. Do you know what a Leatherman is? You know, you open it, it's got like pliers and 1,000 other things on there, right? And so they were very upset with me for having a Leatherman in my briefcase. So someone in line said, well, you can't have this in here. You got to throw it away, right? Or you got to, it was a gift from my wife, right? Of course it was a gift from my wife. And so somebody in line said, you know what you should do? You should go outside and you should find a bush and you should hide it in that bush. And so I guess the madman in me said, that sounds like a good idea, right? And so I went outside to look for that very bush to hide my Leatherman, only to come to my senses and say, this is one of the most surveilled cities in the world, right? Right? I mean, can you imagine? And then my mind went to all of you back at your hotels or homes telling friends and family, that guy that's getting tased and is in handcuffs was supposed to give that welcoming remark. So I didn't hide my Leatherman. I went and put it back in my vehicle, just so you all know. It's on behalf of George Mason University, it's an honor to welcome you to spaceNEXT 2026, where the future of the space economy takes flight. I want to thank George Thomas, Victor Hoskins, and the many partners, organizers, and team members whose collective leadership and dedication brought this community together. This conference is certainly overdue in our region, and there's no better place for it to occur than in the DMV corridor, the epicenter of national security, technology, and space innovation. This is where policy meets engineering, where capital meets capability, where mission meets execution. And spaceNEXT, it's certainly about what's next, but more importantly, it's about who builds what's next. That responsibility doesn't sit in Washington alone. It doesn't sit in a single company or lab. It sits with everyone in this room, the founders, the engineers, the investors, the researchers, the students, and the public servants. What comes next in space will be shaped by the people gathered here, and that's certainly exciting, I know, for all of us. And that brings me to George Mason University's role in this event. Innovation has always defined George Mason University. If you don't know much about us, we're a very young institution, only 53 years old, and one of the quickest universities to receive R1 status by Carnegie. 53 years old for most of us in the room, that's pretty young. To my daughter, she's preteen, she says that's near death, but I can assure you it's not near death. And from the beginning, we had to innovate. So to us, it's not a strategy, but it's a necessity. We couldn't rely on a legacy. We had to build our own path. And you know, the question is, why? Why would I care about that? Well, our president, Gregory Washington, likes to quote, I think it's a relevant quote to George Mason, and that is, talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. And our mission as a university has been to close that gap. We find talent and connect it to real opportunity. Today, innovation isn't an initiative at George Mason, it's our identity. It shapes how we teach, how we research, and how we partner. And that mindset has earned us a national recognition, not for being the oldest university, not for having the largest endowment of all the universities, but for being built for this moment. George Mason is the only doctoral university in Virginia and only one of 6 large universities nationwide designated by Carnegie as an American Council on Education top opportunity university. And so for those of you that know about the Carnegie ranking, obviously Research 1 is the highest level you can achieve. So of course we have incredible research programs. And our graduates outperform most of the other graduates of universities in the region. All terrific stuff. The difference is we accept 90% of the students that apply. 90%. You want to talk about access, that's access. That's an incredible amount. For many universities, that would be a recipe for disaster, right? Most universities define their excellence on how many people they exclude. We define excellence by how many people we include and then the outcomes of those individuals, which is exceptional. We certainly admit students others overlook. We invest in them, we support them, and they succeed. Last year, we graduated 11,000 students. Over 1/3 of our bachelor's graduates earned STEM degrees. More than 40% of our graduate students did the same. And as we recently marked International Women and Girls in STEM Day, I'm especially proud to share this. In our College of Science, more than 60% of our undergraduates identify as women. At the graduate level, more than half identify as women. And that public, I agree, there we are. Very nice. I agree with you. And that pipeline certainly matters. Many of our students arrive carrying powerful stories of perseverance. They've faced obstacles, they've adapted, they've endured, and those lived experiences are why our undergraduates are known for their grit, their resilience, and their work ethic. So our mission as a university is simple. We unlock talent at scale, we fuel innovation, we expand economic opportunity, and that's exactly what this moment in the space economy demands. So we're all standing at the edge of a transformation. The space economy is no longer defined by exploration alone. It's about climate resilience, infrastructure protection, national security, AI-driven analytics, commercial platform, and workforce acceleration. Space is no longer just a destination, it's a platform for discovery, for growth, security, and global leadership. And we are building the talent, research, and partnership to lead. This moment certainly demands a different kind of university, and we hear that a lot from our industry partners. This is an important time, as Stu was saying, not to operate in silos, but we need universities and partners that integrate science and engineering, AI, policy, business, ethics. At Mason, we're building a mission-driven space enterprise inside of a public university, not in isolated labs, not disconnected projects, but a fully integrated ecosystem where research, education, and industry move together. And that's a model that this era requires, and it's a model we're committed to leading. This is why we've launched our Grand Challenge initiatives at George Mason University, and we anchored it with a single defining question. How can humanity secure a sustainable, prosperous future? Not just for the decade, but for the next century. We've committed $15 million to align our faculty, our facilities, our programs around that very mission, not as a slogan, but as an organizing principle. And our answer begins with space, because space is not a side arena, it's a strategic frontier where the future is being built. It's where we understand Earth as a system, monitor climate in real time, secure global connectivity, protect national security. It's where we stress test artificial intelligence at the edge. It's where we leverage quantum science, discover new materials that can transform industries, and where we advance human exploration beyond our home planet. If we're serious about a sustainable and prosperous future, space isn't optional, it's certainly foundational. At Mason, our students don't just study space. You'll hear today in some of our panels, they build missions. They analyze real satellite data. They design real hardware. They shape real policy. They graduate workforce ready from day one. And again, when you talk to people today, you go out and you're going through the booths, you'll hear a lot of people that have George Mason University students as employees, as interns, and they'll tell you all of these things are absolutely accurate. They do that because they're learning alongside faculty who are operating at the highest level of modern space science. Our faculty lead active satellite missions. They conduct experiments aboard the International Space Station. They advance space weather, Earth observation, and AI-driven analytics that turn mission into action. They work in advanced observatories, robotics, and AI labs, and regularly earn competitive time on the James Webb Space Telescope. And that work is powered by deep partnerships with NASA, with NOAA, with the Naval Research Laboratory, the Department of Defense, or Department of War if the president happens to be walking by, and many of you in this room. And we built that physical and digital infrastructure to support it. At Mason Square in Arlington, we launched Fuse, our largest public-private partnership, anchored in computing and energy innovation. Our science and technology campus, we opened a life science and engineering building recently. It's now anchoring Northern Virginia's first innovation district. Together, they form a unified, mission-driven space enterprise, co-created with industry and built to move at mission pace. Because the future of space will not be built in fragments. It will be built through alignment, talent, infrastructure, and aligned purpose. And that alignment certainly has implications for how we partner. We are a different university. We recognize that the traditional pathway of high school to college to job no longer serves all of today's students. And it's not the only effective way to cultivate the economy. Today's workforce demands continuous learning, rapid upskilling, embedded industry partnerships, real-world industry-driven problem solving built in the curriculum from the moment they step on campus, so our graduates are ready to work on day one. At Mason, we call this K to gray learning because education doesn't stop at graduation. It evolves as your life evolves. And we build that mindset early on. Through our early identification program, we help first-generation and college-bound students prepare for college long before they ever arrive on campus. Through our Mason Career Academy, we give students and regional learners access to flexible industry-aligned credentials that complement their degrees and keep them competitive throughout their careers. We also recognize the need to be more nimble to meet the rapidly evolving needs of our partners and our government industries. So we built platforms that connect learning directly to mission. One example is a new initiative that we've recently launched called Patriot Labs, a mission-driven nonprofit designed to move at speed and meet national need. It brings together advanced facilities, top-tier expertise, and industry partnerships to deliver solutions in areas like national security, communications, and critical infrastructure. It's where education, research, and mission execution all intersect. And that same philosophy runs through every student pathway we build, because as many of us like to say, we are not in the degree business, we are in the success business. Student success, industry success, community success. We design programs with employers, not after the fact, but from the start. And of all of these things that I've talked about, if you want to see our model in action, join us at 3:20 this afternoon. Our scientists, engineers, and industry partners will share more about space exploration initiatives and partnership opportunities with George Mason University. I think you'll definitely see what makes our approach to education and our nimble model different from other universities that you may have partnered with. And that's the difference. How we align talent, research, and mission is exactly why spaceNEXT matters. spaceNEXT isn't just a convening, it's a platform for action, to collaborate faster, to prototype smarter, to educate differently, to build boldly. Within 25 miles of this room sit some of the most influential space and defense organizations in the world. This region has everything that it needs to become the global model for space-powered economic growth. But only if we do it together, only if we collaborate. universities, industry, government, and entrepreneurs alike. And at George Mason, we certainly stand ready to serve as that innovation platform where talent connects to mission and ideas turn into impact. The next decade of space will not be defined by rockets alone. It will be defined by talent mobilization, by real collaborations, by speed to innovate, by systems thinking that connects policy, technology, and mission. The winners won't be those that build empires. They will be those that build ecosystems. So my invitation to you is simple. Let's build together here, now. Because at George Mason, we don't just prepare students for jobs, we prepare them to shape the future of this industry, and we're ready to shape it with you. And I hope that you'll stay connected with us and follow our progress as we continue to build this work together. And as I started my presentation, I would just like to say thank you all. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and I look forward to the rest of the programming today and tomorrow. Thank you very much.